Good afternoon and welcome to the Ferris State Football National Signing Day press conference. I'm Rob Bentley, joined by the head coach of the Bulldogs, Tony Annese. And also with us here today are media members. We'll let Coach Annese make an opening statement, and then we will open it up for questions. We'll go in random order here, and I'll select each person to ask a question or two, and then we'll have a chance at the end for any follow-up questions. So, Coach Annese, an opening statement.
Yeah, hi guys. Very excited about this class. I've proclaimed this on the press conference that stream live. This is the best class we've ever had. So I'll say that in front of you guys. With the COVID situation and all the challenges that we were confronted with, it's just amazing the class we put together. I'm so incredibly excited about this class. Got great balance. We recruited it like it was basically a football team, and we were trying to recruit 22 positions in a kicker. We added obviously an extra quarterback or two, an extra running back, and things of that sort. But all in all, it's a great group. 19 from Michigan, 8 from Florida, 1 from Georgia, 7 from West Michigan. Really proud of that. When I first did my press conference up in this same building here, we talked about recruiting West Michigan, and when I first took the job, and we've done a really good job at that. We still recruited hard. 1/4 of our class is from West Michigan. 5 state champions in the class. Of the 8 state champions, in the state of Michigan, two of them were quarterbacks that are signed with Ferris State. Cam Moore from New Lothrop in Division 7, and Brady Roche from Mona Shores in Division 2. And lastly, our average GPA is a 3.0, so we're excited about that. And we've got the M-Live Player of the Year that we signed as well. So all in all, great class, great balance. We were very careful about not taking too many guys because of COVID. If you guys think about this fact, our recruiting class that we just brought in the fall was the 2020 recruiting class. The 19 class all redshirted. So technically speaking, some of us, all of us, have to manage 3 freshman classes here fall of 2021 because the 19 class will be all redshirt freshmen. The 20 class, I guess you'd call them redshirt freshmen, even though they didn't have a season, and the 2021 class, true freshmen. So great group of players, and very excited about it.
Thank you, Coach Annese. We'll start now, and we'll let the media members ask questions. We'll start Jason Hutton with Fox 17.
Had to find my mute. Okay, hey Coach. I just want to ask you about Carson Gulker. I told you I just left his signing. When you recruit the quarterback position, right? You're probably used to recruiting guys that throw the football a lot, and he comes from the run-heavy offense. I guess you like to run the ball with the quarterback. How well does he fit, do you think, and how hard is it to tell when he comes from the offense he does?
Well, it's hard to tell, truthfully. Coach Shillito believed, he made this as a statement, that Carson Gulker is the best football player he's ever coached. And so him saying that is, saying a lot, considering the fact he's coached a lot of games and a lot of great football players. So that was something that I was very impressed by, that Coach Shillito would say that. The second part of it is Coach Shillito said, Tony, he would be D1 if he had a football coach that featured his skill set a little bit better, meaning, he's got the full T, and if I was Coach Shillito, I wouldn't change offenses for a quarterback either. But so Carson didn't get a chance to feature his entire skill set because of, that system. And then third, I just watch, his capacity, his skill set to throw the ball, and both him and Trinidad both throw the ball a lot better than, what really they did in high school. They've got good releases, good good mechanics and both very athletic. So very excited about both Carson and Trinidad as athletes. And at the worst, like I told Carson and Trinidad, at the worst, they're going to end up starting somewhere for us if they're not our quarterback. Carson right now is 6'4", 205. I mean, I don't know how many positions he could play if he didn't play quarterback. But for now, I think both of them have a good chance to roll in there and compete for quarterback time overtime.
If I can follow up real quick on that, I lost track, but it seems like you took 7 or 8 kids that played quarterback in high school. Is that normal? And I know a lot of times those kids can play more positions. How important is it to get kids like that played quarterback in high school and that are versatile?
I love it. It's just great. Yeah, Cam Orr will not be playing quarterback for us, but we took him as a we took him. He was a quarterback in high school. It's just a long list of guys that we took that are quarterbacks but won't be quarterbacks. But at the end of the day, like quarterbacks have, they have that capacity to be leaders on the field. They know what it takes to work to be the best. They know how to, lead. They know how to, have the intangibles that help a team be successful. So if I can take quarterbacks and play them in the secondary, and play them at receiver and play them at slot, like we're going to play Brady Rose, Brady Rose, Coach Koziak messed around a little bit with throwing Brady in at the slot. He caught a touchdown pass against Holland, just a bubble from Konechny, and he scored that way too. So Brady is a good football player with ball in hand, period. And so, we can throw him a bubble, and Brady is also surprisingly physical of a runner. And so we can, we get the ball to our slots in open space. And Brady's surprisingly tough, so he'll be a great blocker for us as a slot. So excited about all of those guys who were former quarterbacks that could play anywhere for us.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go next to Matthew Doyle from 9 and 10 Sports.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Hey, Matthew, how you doing?
Doing well. I wanted to ask you more about Jay Plamonda. I know he was a tough guy to bring down when we covered his games at Ludington throughout his 4-year career, and wondering to see how you plan on using him throughout his years at Ferris State.
Yeah, Jake was also a quarterback at times, which is not exactly what I'm talking about with some of the other guys with their speed and space guys, but Jake was just a physical, when he rolled in there and played the Wildcat quarterback, he was a physical guy, but he's an athletic guy. He's a basketball player. He's a multi-sport athlete. He throws a shot, over 50 feet, which is, shows how powerful he is. So truthfully, the appeal to him was just the versatility to do so many things. We're using more 11 personnel formation, so he can be a tight end, he can be an H-back, he could also roll over there and play defense at different spots. So he's just a multi-dimensional athlete that we really liked a lot from the beginning, and really excited to get him.
And then I heard you mentioning like the difficulties and the differences of recruiting during this time. I was curious, like, how often did you bring up that you had multiple former players making deep runs into the postseason, and now Austin Edwards on the practice squad for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
Isn't that amazing? And when you talk about our former players, like there were at one time 8 guys that were either on practice squads or active rosters from graduates from 15 to 19 that played for us from 15 to 19. So think about that. 8 guys from 15 to 19. You would think we would have won a national championship with all that talent, but we didn't. But it's just incredible how many of those guys have done very, very well. So, I can't mention any of them because then I got to name them all. But it's just amazing. And we got more coming. It's just amazing how successful our guys have been in the NFL. And we had a Zoom call with some of them the other day, And Austin Edwards said it. He's like, people in the NFL know that Ferris State football players, they know who a Ferris State football player is, and they know that Ferris State football players are going to be, committed, at a different level. And he said, you look at some of these other guys, they're entitled and they roll in there and they just don't make the best of the circumstance, where the NFL, leadership and coaches, they know that the Ferris State guy is going to fight to the bitter end to make the team and try to be productive and help a team be successful. So it's really cool to see.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
We'll go next to John Raffle from the Big Rapids Pioneer.
Yeah, Tony, your thoughts about these gentlemen that you recruited did you see them all on video, or were they all seen live too, or exactly how did you determine these individuals were worthy, or did you want them to come to Ferris in terms of what you saw of them on film or live, or what you heard from their other coaches?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, John. That's a really good question. So I would say, of the guys that were recruited from Michigan, we either watched them live. Somebody watched them live. One of my staff members watched them live. Coach Smith and Coach Parker traveled down, in suburban Detroit quite a bit. Coach Rock was in Detroit. Coach Stephen East was in Grand Rapids and that area. Coach Hodges, I know he went to watch Jake at Ludington, went to Flint a lot in his recruiting area. Coach Partridge, before he left, was going to a lot of games. So with us not having a game, we went to a lot of games. And so that made it really easier. Beyond that, like the Florida kids, we just evaluate a lot of film. I told my son, Steve, I said, just watch a lot of film and put a list together. And then Coach Smith went to South Florida, like Miami, Broward and Dade County. And Coach Partridge went over Christmas break, a little bit north of there. I went Christmas break to like the Fort Myers area. Coach Rock went to, the golf side for a couple times as well. So we spent a lot of time beating the bushes, and at the end of the day, there's just a lot of good players out there that you can find if you're willing to, spend almost all your life doing it. And we spent a lot of time doing it. So today, as soon as I leave this, I'm just going to be happy it's behind me and have one of the best classes we've ever had, and really excited about it.
My last question would be, as you look back at your past recruiting classes, we always know that some players that you recruit turn out great and others maybe not. But as you look at your past classes, would you say pretty pleased with the percentage that those players that you recruited, that they've, for the most part, you have a high percentage of those that have turned out pretty well?
Yeah, for sure. We've retained a lot of guys to the point where our roster management's probably one of the most difficult challenges we have, because we don't get a lot of attrition. We fight to keep our guys, and so with 6 classes coming back rather than 5, we're going to have a big team. Very, very rare where we have a roster management issue, but we got one. But yeah, we keep a lot of players, and we got great balance, so we were just talking, Bronx was just in my office before we came over here, and we were just visiting about, who's going to be the next NFL guy, and then we started talking about the different guys in each class, and we feel like each class has, 1 or 2 potential, NFL guys. And when you're recruiting that way and getting, NFL caliber players in each class, you put 5, 6 classes together with 1 or 2 NFL caliber players, and then put a bunch of tough guys that are committed to the success of the team. You've got a good formula, and I think that's what we have.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, John.
Let's go to Brendan Sanders with the Ferris State Torch.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Brendan.
So beyond recruiting less players, what were some of the biggest challenges recruiting over the last year?
Well, it was just managing, how many you could bring at one time. So for a while, we could only bring one recruit up, a day. Okay. And so that was hard to manage. And then when things eased a little bit, and this university, by the way, was very, very determined to help us make it work, which is good, because some people didn't have, that kind of efforts made by their university administration. So I want to thank the university administration for helping us just have at least a way to manage this circumstance and be able to put a good class together. But there was times like, the most we could have would be 6 or 4, and so that was the hardest thing because we had to do it virtually every weekend. So, we would normally maybe, well, in the last seasons prior to this season, we were playing up till, in December, 6 straight years we were playing in December. Well, now, we were bringing, 1 or 2 on campus in November, December. So we got a lot of our Michigan commits, before Christmas break. But then we knew we were going to have to expand our class with, how do I describe it? Florida speed, I guess. And so, so we looked to get some guys, in Florida and Tariq and Georgia who can really run and very athletic guys. So we were able to put it together, but it was challenging. We had to be very calculated and normally when we have official visits, the recruits come and stay with our players for an evening. Well, that, our recruits didn't even see our residence halls because we couldn't, it's too dangerous to have them roll around like that. So we were very careful, spaced out. Like normally we would take a campus visit with a whole group on a bus. And so we had to go campus visit, football talk, and lunch. And we divide them in 3 groups and rotated them through so nobody, was in a space where it was crowded. And so we did a really good job, though. My staff really adapted well, and it was productive, even though challenging.
Okay. And then I noticed at least 4 former West Michigan quarterbacks were in our recruiting class this year. What made this year's QB class in West Michigan so attractive, both at the QB and wide receiver positions?
Well, part of it stems from the fact that, they're most times, like I've always learned, you play, when a kid's a junior high kid, you find the best athlete and play him at quarterback. And so when I was a high school coach, that's what I did. And I think, Coach Koziak did that at Mona Shores, and that was Brady Rose. And Coach Fairfield did it at Muskegon, and that's Amari Crowley. And, then you got Trinidad Chambliss, who's, one of the best athletes, in Forest Hills. And so they did that at Northern. And then, Carson Gulker was the starter as a freshman at Zeeland West. So those are 4 probably the best athletes in the school. And so obviously they're not all quarterbacks here, but, they're all winners. And so when kids grow up to be dominant basketball players, Trinidad was one of the best basketball players in 8th grade. And Gulker was, Gulker's one of the best basketball players in all of West Michigan, and so, that's just a winning formula. And so that's what we love about him.
So circling to Brady Rose, what's the one skill you see from him? Because I know he played 7 positions in high school. What's the one skill you're most excited to see from him when he gets on the field?
Grit. I mean, just grit's the greatest skill you can have in football. If you're gritty, you can be a good football player. That's the beauty of the game. The beauty of the game is if you're gritty, you can be good. If you're not gritty, it's hard to be good. You can be the most talented player in the world, but if you're not gritty, you know, it's hard to be good. And so he just grit, pure and utter grit at a level I don't think I've ever seen in all my years of watching football. You know, it pops up in my head sometimes, like, you know, an unbelievable performance from Barry Sanders or Walter Payton or, you know, whoever. But I mean, maybe this sounds crazy, but you throw Brady Rose in the formula and, you know, Walter Payton and Barry Sanders didn't show the grit that Brady Rose shows. It's crazy. Like, to the point where, you know, I watch him in two separate occasions. And Koziak, I call Koziak the mad scientist because he just does silly things sometimes. And so Koziak throws him out on the kickoff team for, like, when it's down to the wire, and he plays offense, defense, punter, punt returner, kick returner, holder, and then he throws Brady in there as a kickoff guy. Like, hey, go make the tackle, Brady. We need to win this game. And so grit, man, just insane grit.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Good questions.
We'll go next to Sandy Golston with the Bulldog Sports Network.
What's up, Sandy?
Hey, Coach, how we doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Hey, one question I wanted to ask, and it's a follow-up to what some other people have asked, is what, if any, advantage have Division II coaches such as yourself, especially high-level Division II coaches? What have you guys been able to do to maybe leverage the fact that so many guys can get to the NFL from Division II? I think I saw some graphics at the beginning of the playoffs in the NFL, and how many Division II guys were playing and contributing to successful NFL teams. How have you guys been able to leverage that you can get there from here?
Well, first off, we brag like crazy that we lead the nation in NFL players for a D2. So that's a fact, and that's a great bragging point. And that's a credit to the guys that, you know, have made it, because it's not an easy thing. You know, and really it's again, the tenacity to want to be the best. And you know, it's part of our culture, you know. So I asked this to Austin Edwards the other day. I said, Austin, how did Justin Zimmer and Zach Sealer, you know, impact you and your grit to make it to the NFL, your determination to do that? He said it directly impacted me. You know, I watched Sealer, I watched Zimmer. They were right in front of me, and basically they put the formula together, and all they had to do was follow it. And so those are a really important part of what we've done. And then the fact remains this, you know, there's just great football players at Division II level, and you know, part of our guys are doing that. You know, you never see Zimmer just like being lazy on the field. You know, even when Tariq, what's the little receiver from Kansas City?
Can you look at that either on court and plug it in?
Huh? Hill. He took off one play against Buffalo, and
It's
Zimmer
plugged
was
into the
chasing
adapter
him,
over there.
And
And you need to put the adapter.
Catch him, but he kept on chasing him and went after him. So it's pretty cool to see. So our guys are tenacious. They're built to be tenacious, and they've had great success.
And then the other question I'll ask you is that a lot of times when you look at the NFL draft or the NBA draft, do you draft based on need, or do you draft the best player available? With a recruiting class that you guys had coming into last year, and then a recruiting class coming into this year, did that affect your focus? Were you looking at trying to fill positions, areas of need as much, or maybe were you looking for more of the best athletes and the best fits that were available, or was there really not really much of a change?
No, it's we always recruit like we're recruiting a football team, so that's important to us. So we want to win the national championship in 2025, you know, and so, you know, we want to have a class that's got good balance so that we can win the national championship in 2025. And above that, I think, is just having winners, you know, recruiting guys that, you know, are used to winning, are determined to winning, and lead a life that they're going to try to win in all aspects of life. That's important to us. And then, you know, there's certain skill sets that we look for that others don't look for. We look for more, a lot of people, like, they're looking for lean, tall bodies on the offensive line. We're looking for guys that can, you know, plow you, they can run you over. And so it doesn't matter how tall you are, truthfully. And so we just still want to have the physical nature on offense, the O-line. And our O-line, this year we only had to take 3 of them because we're just so deep at that position, Like I said in the press conference, we have 5 6th-year seniors on the O-line, which is insane. So we've done a good job of really developing the offensive linemen, and then D-line the same way. I mean, those are the 2 strengths of our team. But I give our credit to, our position coaches, our strength coaches, and our culture. Those are all 3 things where our player development is second to none. I say to people, well, Tavier Thomas and Zach Sealer were walk-ons. They're like, what? So you got 2 NFL players that were walk-ons? Yeah. Well, how'd that happen? It's just the culture our team possesses. The love our coaches have for our players, the love that players have for the players, the love the players have for the coaches, and then the passion to really reach your full potential, because that's what we talk about all the time. We want you to reach your full potential in all aspects of life. Physically, emotionally, socially, intellectually. All of those things are important for us to develop people, because at the end of the day, it's all about player development, and that goes back to the NFL players. It's player development. I call it transformation. The players transform into just these guys that come here as a freshman in college and transform into these superstars. And I also say that the catalyst of our greatness is love. And people say, what? And I'm like, no, the catalyst of our greatness is love. And that's been how we've been so successful.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Any follow-up questions from any other media members? Nope. Well, thanks everyone for coming on, and congratulations again, Coach. And we look forward to seeing all you guys again, hopefully this fall.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.